So moving forward, there seems to be a an interesting battle. Everyone wants the championship, but what about the number one overall pick? we saw what was tantalizing. Two players, Scoot Henderson, but this is the big one, Victor Wembanyama, who, I mean, people were calling him like an alien. They're
Yeah.
calling him like super rare, elite talent. He's super young, 7'4", can handle the ball, block shots, making three-pointers at like Steph Curry clips. He made 7 3-pointers out of 11.
Yeah, the
At
first game.
7'4", you see him playing the game. Like he's waving people off, dribbling people up and then pulling up, crossing people up and then pulling up 3 or 4 feet outside the three-point line as a 7'4" player. Have you ever seen anyone like this?
No, and nobody has. I think that's the funny thing. You listen to people try to come up with comps, and they're like, well, maybe a better Ralph Sampson. Like, what if you took Kevin Durant and grew him 4 inches? Like, it's really tough to come up with good comps, because what I thought was really impressive was, like, in the first game, they run a little side pick and roll, not, sort of an elbow extended pick and roll for him. He's a 7'4" guy handling the ball in a pick and roll. The guy guarding him, goes under the pick. He goes, all right, I'll just shoot, and drains it. Like, it is a smooth, effortless motion. He had a leaner in the corner on one play in transition. It was, I'm not a scout, and the scouts and the people I do know were kind of like, everybody, some of them had seen him, but seeing him in person against a good level of competition, that is a good G League Ignite team, really turned heads. There's, like I said, it's not only the offense and the things we're talking about. He blocked a lot of shots. He altered a lot more. He is one of those really, at 7'4" with a 7'11" wingspan. He is just in the vicinity, changing everything, able to cover ground, moves. I guess part of it is basically, I just don't remember, Corey, ever seeing a 7'4" guy that fluid, like, move that well.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the French pterodactyl. I mean, that's crazy. 5 blocks. He's like shooting 7 3-pointers. The thing about him, though, when I was watching him, yeah, he moves well, but it's like, it looks almost deceptive how, like, it's like,
yeah.
It's funny. I would love to see him in person, because it looks like on tape he looks very slow. But, he's also, like you said, he glides, I should say. Like I said, I think the French pterodactyl is probably like a decent, metaphor or nickname for how he glides around the floor. And I remember there's one shot he had. So basically, he squared somebody up, and the guy came over to help. Another defender came over to help. He takes a jab step, fade away into the baseline.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like a 20-foot fadeaway jumper, nothing but the ball in the net. And I'm thinking, that's like a Kobe Bryant move. You don't see a 7'4" guy doing that, squaring somebody up, jab step, fadeaway, turnaround fadeaway jumper at 18, 20 feet. That's scary, because think about that's the thing that made Kevin Durant, indefensible, is that no one can block his shot. If he gets to a spot and elevates, who's going to block a 7-foot jump shooter?
Yeah,
it's like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's skyhook. It's who can block that, and so that's where I was thinking he has an indefensible move, and this is still early in his career.
Yeah, I was thinking Dirk too was the other one with that one-legged fadeaway where you're like, good luck. Yeah, you can't. I don't know. It's going to be really interesting, and I think the other thing that really came out of that, and the reason you're going to see a push for tanking more this year, you're going to see teams jump into this, is Scoot Henderson's good. Scoot Henderson, I loathe these kinds of comparisons, but I now had 2 scouts that I talked to use the Derrick Rose model, like the young Derrick Rose, that level of athleticism and more importantly, body control, like just incredible body control, fearlessly going at Wembanyama, got blocked a couple times, but also got buckets around him a couple times. If now, instead of like, oh, well, we've only got a 14% chance under the new lottery guidelines to get first. Yeah, but I've got a 27 or whatever the numbers are, depending on where you land, % chance to get one of those two. And suddenly that kind of push to go back just makes more sense. Like, I think you're going to see not only teams that, look, there's teams we knew were, Utah clearly targeted this year, and Orlando's going to be entertaining and Houston's going to be entertaining, but they're not going to win a lot of games because they're going to play their youth. But I think, Corey, could this be the year we see a good team, a pretty good team, who suffers an early injury or just starts slow and have, normally you have to sell your owner on this. They're going to be able to go, you saw Wembanyama, right? I wouldn't be surprised to see more teams pivot mid-season than we're used to.
Yeah, when do you think that pivot happens?
Earlier than later this year. I really think sometimes. I think the example is Portland last year, right? They were okay, and then once Lillard got hurt, and it was clear, well, the stomach issue that was acting up, and it was clear he was just going to be out. They were trading McCollum. We're revamping this thing. I think you're going to see somebody make that kind of move. But I think rather than waiting till the trade deadline, it could be Christmas. It could be like people pivoting way earlier because they're not going to be the only ones. And there's going to be a push to get in the lower your odds, even in the flattened lottery. I think the flattened lottery helps a little bit because you used to think, man, 6 isn't good enough. Now you're like, 6 is actually going to give me a decent chance. So like, I think it's going to get really interesting. I don't know that that's good for the league, by the way. It's going to drive Adam Silver nuts, but I think it's what you're going to see this year just because it's such a crazy year with good prospects.
I was reading an article about what Nick Batum thought about Wembanyama because he saw him, in the French system. He's had his eyes on him since he was a 14-year-old. Apparently, he called Tony Parker right away. It's like, I found the next one, not just for basketball, but I found the next one. Period. Like the hype that he's thought about Wembanyama is similar to what Luka generated as far as hype is concerned. Yeah. And I know a team in San Antonio that loves French basketball players, and that is towards the bottom of the.
And it's not, with all due respect to your team, and actually, they'll play hard for Popovich. That's not a really good team. They're going to struggle this year. Your Spurs are going to rack up some losses. As much as I like Vassell, I think that they've got some nice young players. They're going to be in this mix this year, and it would be very Spursian to get one of those guys and then build an empire around them.
One can hope. One can hope. One can dream.